Can I tell you why Jesus was crucified? Have you ever thought about it? What was the reason, the singular reason Jesus was put to death? I wonder if you've ever thought about it. What was the singular reason for which Jesus was killed by men? You'll be surprised why they killed him. Jesus was not crucified because somebody lied about him. Jesus was not crucified because they just hated him, even though they hated him without a cause. Jesus was not crucified because he did something wrong and they misunderstood, or they assumed he did something that was so terrible and they found out later on he didn't. No. You'll be amazed at the singular reason Jesus was crucified. You want to know? Yeah. I'm sure many of you are saying yes, you want to know. Singular reason Jesus was crucified. All right, let's read from St. John's Gospel, chapter 19, verse number 7. The Jews answered him. You know, Pilate, maybe I should read from verse 4, all right? So you can get the picture. Pilate therefore went forth again and said, now Pilate was the governor, all right? And said unto them, behold, I bring him forth to you. He had examined Jesus, so he says, behold, I bring him forth to you, that ye may know that I find no fault in him. Pilate said, I find no fault in Jesus. So he brought Jesus back to the Jews. They had charged him with crimes. He says, I find no fault in him. All the accusations wouldn't agree together. There was no crime. There was no fault in Jesus. All right, let's keep reading. Then came Jesus forth, wearing the crown of thorns. They put a crown of thorns. He was already suffering pains, affliction, for no crime committed. At the judgment, Pilate says, I find no fault in this man. And yet he had been punished for no wrongdoing. Then came Jesus forth wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. And Pilate said unto them, behold a man. When the chief priests therefore and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, crucify him for what? The judge just said, I find no fault in him. And yet they say, crucify him. Pilate said unto them, take ye him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him. So he says, you go and crucify him yourself. I find no fault in him. Now watch. This will show you what Jesus was killed for. Watch. Next verse. The Jews answered him. They answered Pilate. We have a law, and by our law he ought to die because he made himself the Son of God. That's why Jesus was killed. Because he said, I am the Son of God. That's why he was killed. They said, we have a law. By our law, he ought to die. Because he made himself the Son of God.
So I came across this video of Pastor Chris. And in the video, he was trying to tell us the reason why the Jews killed Jesus. So we can see how he went on and on and on just to tell us that. In fact, I was really interested in knowing, because I have always thought that Jesus died for our sins, and Jesus died to redeem us, and Jesus' death was the ultimate payment that was made for mankind, and that Jesus' death was predestined, which means that it could never be changed. It had to happen because God has already ordained it, and even Jesus himself knew about it from the very beginning. But then again, I was a little bit intrigued when the man of God said that there is one reason, or there is one important fact that most of us haven't paid that much attention to, and that he was going to tell us the reason. I'm guessing that most of the people who sat there listening to him know the Bible very well. I'm sure they have read the Bible from cover to cover. And I don't understand why none of them thought to raise their hands and answer the question. Because I felt like he was asking a question to see if the audience understood why Jesus was by. That was my read of it. But maybe that wasn't a question. Maybe it was just a statement. Maybe. So he had to get into the Bible, read a few lines of maybe verse, I don't know, from the Bible in order to establish this. And we have all heard what he said, that Jesus was by for saying that he was the Son of God. And that was the reason. Now, let me ask, right, like a novice, like someone who doesn't understand the Bible. And please, when responding to my question, do that as you may to a child. Please, okay? Had it been that Jesus did not claim to be the Son of God, did not say he was the Son of God, would his life been spared? Would he not have been killed? I'm just asking. And secondly, if Jesus is the Son of God, and God is all-powerful, and even Jesus is also all-powerful, he could do a lot of things. If he did not wanted to die, wouldn't he have done something to prevent that from happening? Because, believe me, Jesus was all-powerful, right? He could do a lot of things. So I am quite sure that if he didn't wanted to die, he would have done something about it, right? Maybe he would have convinced those people into liking him, those people that buy him. He would have convinced them into liking him. So, who is to be blamed for this? Should we now hold the Jewish people responsible for Jesus' pie? Should we? Should we hold them responsible for that? Or was it something that was predestined, that had to happen, and it would have been never avoided? Is it so? Please answer me in the comment section below, because I would like to hear what you have to say. Now, this is just separate from what Pastor Chris said. I really find it funny to be seeing people in the church just sitting and listening to their man of God preach to them, and they are not saying anything. I really find this strange to see that most people you would thought are intelligent, have brains, would sit quietly and hear a man of God say things that they know could be wrong or could be right, things that they know they could chip in, they could give, like put in their own input, but they rather just sat quietly and listen. I don't know why they do that. I don't know if it is out of respect or what, I don't know, but I just find it so strange. To me, it's so strange because I have always thought that people needed to ask questions, people needed to raise up their hands and speak out, people needed to be able to talk and share their own opinions and thoughts, isn't it? But I guess in the church, all those things are being thrown out the window. Maybe. But anyway, let me hear what you have to say.